Hello and welcome back to the first spring quarter episode of On the Steps. I'm Max Davis-Housefield.
I'm Verna Chen.
And I'm Madeline.
Coming up, university workers return to striking.
Students observe Ramadan.
Women's basketball loses in the Final Four.
And baseball takes on San Diego.
Welcome to the first show of spring quarter. Maddie, Verna, how are your breaks?
Amazing. It was really good. Very relaxing for me. How about you, Max?
Fantastic. And you know what else is fantastic? The shows we've got lined up for you this quarter, we're going to be taking you to Spring Sing, and we're going to be live streaming the USAC debates. So be sure to tune in for that and all our episodes in between.
We've also got a lot of news this week. In a few minutes, we're going to have the Daily Bruin sports editor, Ira Gorawara, to talk about the women's basketball season.
Before that, though, we will be taking you back to Tuesday, April 1st.
The Daily Bruin's Katie Chavez was on the ground for UPD 9119's one-day strike last week.
Let's take a look.
On April 1st, UPTE 9119 participated in a one-day strike over alleged bad faith bargaining and unfair labor practices, the third labor strike this academic year. The UPTE is the Union of Professional and Technical Employees across the UC system, which includes UCLA's research and healthcare workers.
In UPD, we have behavioral health counselors, clinical psychologists, a lot of people that work with our mental health side or who are supporting our students, and I know it's a really challenging time right now for a lot of people, and unfortunately those student health services are being impacted, not because of strikes, but because of overall short staffing, poor retention, and their appointments are getting pushed out by months, and I want them to know that we're out here mainly because we want to resolve that. We want UC to give the support that our students deserve.
The UPTE strike was joined by AFSCME 3299, who has also been in contract negotiations with the UC.
So today we're here in solidarity with UPD. You know, we're not unaccustomed to the serial lawbreaking from the university, and so that's why we're out here supporting our UPD siblings.
Overall, we're under attack by multiple angles, and so that solidarity means the world, and we're very grateful to ASME. We know we've been supporting each other back and forth, and all the other labor unions that have shown up, like Teamsters have shown up, CNA has shown up, UAW has shown up, so the solidarity is real, and it's very heartfelt.
The UC sent out a statement calling these strikes unnecessary disruptions that cost the university system millions of dollars. One clinical research coordinator asserts that these strikes are anything but unnecessary.
While they call it unnecessary, it very much affects the frontline workers. I deal with cancer patients, and this is their last opportunity to get the care they need. They don't have months to wait.
Although UPT's February strike lasted 3 days, today's was one. Harris explains why.
This is a one-day strike because we want UC to understand that we are not going to stop. So we did a 3-day strike. They really haven't made any progress. They haven't really barely acknowledged our presence. And so we are again saying, hey, come back.
In that same April 1st statement, the UC says they have met with AFSCME and UPTE for months to try to settle these contracts.
You know, I don't want to be out here on strike, but I feel like I don't have a choice. And I don't have a choice in regards to me and how I'm treated as an employee, but I also don't have a choice in regards to how I see my patients being treated because of the short staff.
For the Daily Bruin, I'm Katie Chavez. Hannah Morgan, Letty Chris Cordone, and Madeline Wu contributed to this report.
Last month, many students around campus observed the Muslim sacred month of Ramadan.
The Daily Bruins' Izzy Yu and Luca Falvo attended a breaking of this fast to bring you the story.
I'm with the Daily Bruin, and today we're covering Ramadan.
So tonight was our iftar, and we do this pretty much every single day of the month of Ramadan.
This is an iftar, which is the name for the Muslim breaking of the fast during the month of Ramadan. And so during the month of Ramadan, Muslims fast 29 or 30 days from dawn until sunset. And here we have a great community iftar. We invite the whole Muslim community here at UCLA, as well as other associates, to come break fast together and eat some good food together.
People invite their non-Muslim friends. And it's just a way for everyone to come and pray together and kind of have like a similar feeling that you'd have if you're still living at home. It wasn't for clubs like this because like it's hard to find food, first of all, that's halal and like similar to cultural foods. And we usually get different clubs to host each night, and each club will have like their own cultural food or something. So in that aspect, it kind of like reminds you of home in a way. And then in terms of having like a nice prayer space and just like a comfortable community, these events really come in handy for that.
The hardest thing is not even the hunger or the thirst at all. I'd say the hardest thing is managing your sleep schedule. During the month of Ramadan, late night worship is something that is heavily encouraged for Muslims. Not only that, but also waking up very early in the morning at like 4 or 5 a.m. And so juggling that with also trying to get enough sleep for, your 8 a.m.s, your 9 a.m.s, trying to find enough time to do your homework and your projects, especially with it being finals week, it can get pretty tough.
Yeah, and the focus is like, not there when you're starving all day, but, it's part of the experience too. But I would say, the greatest struggle is like trying to find that balance, whether it's like you break your fast and then you're hungry, right? But then you break your fast and then you're tired and you want to go to sleep, and it's like, it's super difficult. Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting how it both humbles you, but also like makes you realize how strong you are. So it's both of those factors in conjunction, right? And I think our religion teaches a lot about balance, and I think that's the beauty in what fasting does. It teaches you go spend your day doing your work and your worship, and then at the end of the day eat a balanced and healthy meal in like a respectful way that's not like you're overly filling your stomach and you're not treating yourself poorly, right? So I think it goes back to the sense of balance, and like it's hard to achieve, but I think it sets you up pretty well once you get into that flow.
It's just a great time for us to get together as a community and to break fast together, and to just spiritually grow together.
I'm Izzy, and this has been the Daily Bruin.
Well, it's our favorite time of the week.
It is time for sports.
It was quite the season for women's basketball. They won the Big Ten championship and made it all the way to the Final Four during March Madness until they lost to UConn last Friday.
Yeah, joining us now to talk about all of this and more is the Daily Bruin sports editor, Ira Gorawara. Welcome to the show, Ira.
Thank you.
So you were at the game last Friday in Tampa. Tell us, how was it?
Yeah, well, definitely a tough loss for UCLA.
Yeah.
We lost 85-51. It was actually the biggest loss in Final Four history and the biggest defeat over overall top 1 seed, because UConn was number 2 seed. UCLA was the overall number 1 seed. So 34-point loss. Obviously, a lot went wrong for UCLA. I think from my understanding, and we wrote a story about how kind of UConn scouted UCLA out of its identity. I think the way UCLA plays is they have a 6'7" center, Lauren Betts, and she's kind of the center of their offense. And that was kind of their plan going into the game, or so we expected, to kind of work around her. And it's like, she has a big interior presence in the paint, and with her presence there, defenders swarm into the key, and they're all kind of there bundled up, which makes the perimeter guards open for 3-pointers or for long-range shots. And that was kind of stifled. UConn really scouted UCLA well, and they had their defenders closing out on UCLA's guards, unlike UCLA's ever seen before. Corey Close, the head coach, said in an interview post-game that they've never been defended like that. They've never been closed out like that. And, UConn's head coach, Gino Auriemma, he's coached for 40 years. He's like a, mastermind of the game. UConn's been to 24 Final Fours. This was their 12th national championship. So they really have the experience. And so that gets into the point. This was not a loss that defines the season. I wrote a column the other day about how this is an unfortunate way to end the season, because a lot of people that didn't watch the UCLA's whole season will kind of only tune into this game because it's Final Four. And they'll see this game and kind of be like, oh, the team's bad, or, oh, this is wrong, oh, that's wrong, this went wrong, that went wrong, when there's actually so much to celebrate, because they were playing against a team that is so familiar with the stage. They have a coach who the coach before the game was like, I don't even want this for myself, I want it for my players, because he's had it so many times. He's been, under the brightest lights. They also have the future number 1 pick in the WNBA draft. Paige Beckers is their starting point guard. So they have so much experience and so much depth on that team that I don't think that's a good definition of their season, or it's just an unfortunate way to end such a historic season for UCLA.
So what does the season mean for the team, and what are the takeaways? that you have from this season.
Totally. Yeah, as I said, it's an unfortunate way to end what was such an historic season. So many firsts in program history. They were ranked at the number 1 in the country for 12 straight weeks, which has never happened before. They had 34 wins in the season and just 3 losses, which was the best record in program history. Obviously won a Big Ten title, Big Ten tournament championship in their first season in the Big Ten. Just so many things to be proud of and so many firsts in program history. Like I said, it was also their first time at the Final Four in 46 years, since 1979. And back then, the women's basketball was sponsored by the AAW, not the NCAA. So there's a different era as well. That kind of, a lot of people say it's their first Final Four, but it wasn't. This was not their first Final Four, just first time in the NCAA era. So just like a lot to celebrate. Also a 23-game win streak to start the season until USC snapped that in the regular season. So there was so much to celebrate. So many, first they got revenge over LSU. LSU knocked them out of the NCAA tournament last season, and this year they beat them in the Elite Eight to advance to that Final Four. And so much development in the team, so much development as a coach. A lot of people doubted Corey Close for not being able to get her team to that Final Four level, but she proved that and so much more this season, and kind of silence all that critique around her.
For sure.
So yeah, just so much to celebrate this season, and just a big part of UCLA women's basketball's legacy, because obviously UCLA is known for its men's basketball program because of John Wooden and all this, but it was a really defining season, I think, for the women's basketball program here at UCLA.
Looking into next season, what's next for the team?
Yeah, so this week, obviously, season's now over. UConn won the national championship on Sunday, and UCLA season is over. The transfer portal opened, and UCLA has actually had 6 people enter. Some of those were surprises. The entire class of 2024, as in the freshman class this year, all has entered the transfer portal. So that's Avery Kane, Kendall Dudley, Alina Arnisalo, and Zania Saka-Ngumen. And they've all entered the transfer portal by Tuesday. And then this morning, actually, London Jones, who's our starting shooting guard, and she's shoots the lights out from the 3-point line. She's been key to a lot of our games, especially down the stretch. She's out of the transfer portal, and so is Janiah Barker, who was this year's Big Ten Sixth Player of the Year. So she's been great off the bench. She transferred to UCLA this past season as a junior, played one season. She was so integral to the program. She came from Texas A&M, and now she's entering her transfer portal and will enter her 3rd program in her time at college. So those 2 portal entries came this morning, and that was definitely a surprise because London Jones was part of our starting lineup. Janiah Barker was huge in our rotations. We have Sienna Betts, who's Lauren Betts' younger sister, and she's the number 2 ranked prospect in the class of 2025 in high school. She's going to be coming next year, and she's going to have a huge role to play because she was a McDonald's All-American MVP. She's so much hype around her for what she can bring to the court. And so we have her. We have some other high school recruits that are coming in, and obviously Corey Close is going to recruit from the transfer portal as well to kind of make up for what she's lost so far, both those 6 people I mentioned earlier. But yeah, those came as a surprise, and it does raise some questions about what's going on internally of why those 6 players wanted to enter the portal, even after such a historic season, and so much to celebrate after that season. But definitely a lot to look forward next season with Lauren Betts, Kiki Rice, Angela Dugalich, and Gabriella Hawkins all returning, and they're all part of the starting lineup as well. High school recruits to look forward to. And still great players we have on the bench that are going to be returning. Charlize Ledger-Walker, who's came this year to UCLA. She's actually from New Zealand. And she's also a very highly ranked prospect, and she had a lot of hype around her as well. She redshirted this season because of an injury, so she's going to be back next year because she's now cleared to play. And she's also someone that has a lot to look forward to. So yes, some portal entries, and yes, some losses after the season. And there could still be because the portal's still open. Unlikely, but there could. We don't know. But still a lot to look forward to next season. And actually UCLA is ranked number 1 in the early preseason polls for next year. So still, a lot to look forward to, and they're definitely going to be in chase of the championship next season.
Well, thanks so much for coming on here. It was really great.
Thank you guys so much.
Definitely have you back at some point.
I would love to. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Ira. Sticking with sports to finish out the episode, baseball took on the University of San Diego last Saturday.
Daily Bruin reporter Hannah Morgan was there and tells us the story.
I'm at Jackie Robinson Stadium covering UCLA men's baseball playing against the University of San Diego.
Number 14 ranked UCLA men's baseball team rallied from behind to secure its 9th consecutive victory, edging out the University of San Diego 7-6 on Saturday afternoon at Jackie Robinson Stadium. With their 13th come-from-behind win of the season, the UCLA Bruins clinched their 8th straight weekend with a win. Home runs from A.J. Salgado and Phoenix Call powered a 4-run 6th inning that gave UCLA its first lead of the game, a lead they held for the rest of the afternoon. Rob Chalowski led the offense with 3 hits, including a double and a run. Cal Randall earned his first collegiate win with 1 inning of work, while Jack O'Connor tossed a scoreless 8th inning. The University of San Diego opened the scoring with a 2-run home run in the top of the first. The UCLA Bruins responded in the bottom half as Chalowski doubled and later scored on an RBI groundout. UCLA took control in the 6th inning. Salgado's opposite field home run tied the game, and after a hit by pitch and a walk, Call launched a 3-run homer, his first career home run, to make it 7-3. San Diego cut the lead to 1 with a 2-run homer in the 7th inning and another run in the 9th, but Justin Lee ended the game with a 5-4-3 double play to earn his 5th save of the season.
I'm Hannah Morgan with Daily Bruin.
Well, that's our show for today.
Thank you so much for watching.
And we'll see you next week.